welcome back to another episode of Spellbooth, guys, where DJ and I talk shop about everything that's going on with Spellbreak currently.
Also, deep V-necks that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, that is deep. Oh, I don't have mine on. Sad day. I actually changed out of one. But nonetheless, I'm Noriokai.
I'm DJ Montague.
And welcome.
Deep V-neck Montague. DV Montague.
DV Montague. Nice. Alright, so I think what we're going to do is we are going to start off with actually just our actual thoughts on the patch notes, minus the actual changes to the game that now that we've been able to play them, since we've went over these patch notes in our first episode. But just like overall thoughts, like we'll talk about movement at the very end. I think it should be our last topic of discussion. But as for now, yeah, let's just talk. How are you feeling about the lightning changes? Because I know lightning is your big baby.
Alright. So, lightning as a whole, I think, right now, is okay. Boy, that bloom hurts. There are a lot of shots that I feel like I missed because bloom doesn't start on your second actual click of the mouse. Bloom starts on the second bolt leaving the fucking gauntlet. So, it's very frustrating that instead of me having an accurate first shot waiting and then taking another accurate first shot, quote unquote, it's just kind of random.
So the lightning you feel it's each subsequent bolt that comes out, not each subsequent or equivalent mouse click, right? So...
Sorry, my friend came in my channel and just is spouting shit. Like, what inch? What are you talking about? Jesus Christ. Alright, I've got to fix my deep V to get back to where I'm at. Lightning... Yeah, it's frustrating that bloom starts on the second bolt and third bolt leaving the gauntlet with one mouse click as opposed to when you click again. So my laser focus being able to be mid-long range and sometimes short range depending on the hit is frustrating.
So
at pretty much all junctures.
Yeah, so that's as Lion said, the way it works in the first AR in Fortnite as well. Where the first shot's laser accurate, but the other one's the bloom comes into play, which makes sense for something that's burst. But your bloom carries over to your second shot. So if you keep holding down, it's gonna get wider and wider and wider. Which makes sense.
Well, my issue is... Go ahead, what are you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, my point being that if you... Because it resets after about a second. So you could abuse that, because then you just always have these 3 laser shots from a distance. And that was one of my gripes about lightning, was that it was so good at a distance. So I kind of like that it's after each shot.
My opinion on it is it does so... Like, if you look at comparison damage... one shot of a burst AR you can do 90 damage in one shot in a burst AR in Fortnite, right? Which is 40% of your health-ish, 35, right? Potentially, or actually 45%, right? So that makes sense. But in this game, one shot of your lightning gauntlet is between 15 and 20% of your health, 25 at the most, legendary gauntlet. So if you have the burst shot, first shot accuracy is okay, I get it. The bloom starts in the second shot, goes to the third. 4th, 5th, 6th, they're all at max bloom. Or 5th and 6th are max bloom, sorry. So this is 2 clicks we're talking about, right? So that's effectively, if I hit every single shot, could possibly be 30 to 40% of your health, as opposed to in I did not play CS:GO, so I'm not a CS:GO person. So it's hard to we had that comparison yesterday. So it's frustrating to me that if I'm not patient, I'm still gonna do less damage, even with perfect possible play, like optimal play, than a possible one-shot fireball. You know.
True.
So, and admittedly, fireball long range is non-existent at this point because of crack shot being nerfed. But it's still, we're looking at possibilities of damage, and so it frustrates me that Lightning Gauntlet, the bloom starts on the second and third shot, which I don't know, because also you have to take the time to reset your bloom after about a second and a half ish. It's just like that is a mid to close range gauntlet now. If we had damage modifiers on head with lightning and ice, it would make sense that it's not a laser. All 3 shots. I agree. If we had damage fall off at long range, like Legendary Gauntlet does half damage over 100 meters, or but then give me the ability to make those laser shots. If I'm on point, that person is going to feel pressure, Whereas now they feel pressure by seeing bullets whiz by their head, and it's like, okay, a good player is not going to give a shit if the bullets are whizzing by their head because they're not doing any damage. But a mediocre player is like, oh, I'm getting shot at, I need to get to safety. I can't force something out of a fight with Lightning Gauntlet as much as I could before, which stresses me out a little bit in that I feel like I'm supposed to hit a lot more shots than I am. So it's hard to get used to. I'm not a huge fan. I would rather them take the stun away, but
and keep the way it was shooting before. Yeah, I could see that. I think the stun is the strongest portion. The stun plus the 20 damage is a large portion of it. That being said, I don't know, do you have any idea what you would want to do with the sorcery? Just have it do damage? Because I think my thing is you can't really combo anything with a lightning sorcery, unless you put something else out first. Almost everything you can sort of combo with the sorceries aside from ice and lightning.
Right.
So you can throw stuff out, or you can put the fire down, throw your rock, throw your toxic, and then when it lands, it'll hit us dragon fire.
One sec. Let me handle my dog real quick. He's very excited.
You think it should be 100% bloom on every 3, even without reset? So you're saying on the 3rd shot, it's at its max bloom, and then it resets. The dog doesn't like the lightning changes. This is very true, but he does not like it.
Dog does not like the lightning changes. I agree. Real quick, Inch, yes, I'm very technical when it comes to spell break. That's why we did play Warrior, because we were both garbage, and rolling crits win games. But point being, Puppers is now part of the stream.
Buddy!
Welcome to the stream, buddy.
Puppers.
I'm very tired of my shit. So
the clickbait thumbnail achieved.
Yeah. Clickbaits. So what I wanted to see them change with lightning, which I think would have been a harder undertaking, is if they're gonna keep the stun, lower the damage on the sorcery, make it 15 damage. But I also want them to do 15 damage on Dragonfire. But I think Dragonfire is more destructive for the game than the lightning sorcery is right now. With mobility, lightning sorcery is pretty good, but you can't stick it on walls, and it's a little harder to hit than Dragonfire. And you can't hit people below floors, which happened yesterday, which pissed me right the fuck off. So it's just I think that lightning's in a good place right now, but people are still gonna kind of be annoyed with it. I think it doesn't apply as much pressure as it did before, which frustrates me because I enjoy playing lightning.
Yeah, I know. It definitely puts a little more pressure on the gauntlet, which is good because prior to this, people were kind of abusing it. So I think it puts it in a nice place where it's still good to run. I think it puts it in line with the other gauntlets, and it just makes it so it's as people aren't as broken, think of it as broken as it is. That being said, I think it was a cheesy way to win before. Yeah, but I mean, you could still counter it. Like, most of the time I was, like, me going up against the Lightning player, even if they had, like, full build stuff, like, I still felt fine going against them. The only time is if they caught me out and I was low health that I ever felt truly threatened. Anytime I was against the Lightning player, or if their shot blocked my ice shot, which has happened to DJ. DJ has killed me before when he betrayed me, and played with Marcus and Oswald, and I went to land 2 shots on him, and his lightning bolt stopped it.
Which doesn't happen anymore.
Yes, that has changed. Toxic still does it, though, which is what gets me to my next point, is Toxic, I personally think, without a doubt, is the best gauntlet in the game, and I feel it's almost a necessity to run it at this point. Because not only did they make you have this kind of wall that you can use to block shots, which did happen to me yesterday with one of my frost shots. The projectiles is good. It makes it good for mid-range. You can throw some Toxic mid-range, and you can get off some good hits. I very much like that.
Real quick, I had someone type in my chat. Tyler22 said, "Lightning is fine. Conduit needs a huge nerf or change. It is by far the strongest class overall, and it is the sole reason Lightning is too strong currently." Let's address that real quick. I don't think Conduit is the strongest overall whatsoever. Bulwark is just insane. The skill point intensity that Lightning takes to become overpowered, I think, kind of is where the balance is on that. If you are a stronger player, you're gonna get more skill points. You're going to, as you push your point, you further your aggression. And with Arc Flash and Charged Rune being so incredibly strong with missing skills to a certain extent, I think, okay, so 40 damage on Blink, you require 3 skill points. 80 damage on a Sorcerer, you require 3 skill points. Yes, I agree that those are very strong things, and I'm going to say, Tyler, that both Nori and I are pretty top-tier players, tied for number 1 last week, number 1 the week before, number 1 the week before that. We kind of know what we're talking about when it comes to what is overpowered, and I'll tell you, 65% damage reduction with 6 skill points is going to be so far and away much more powerful than 40 damage. Okay, then you don't. I mean, if you want to be like that, like, that's just kind of rude, man. Like, we're not top tier. That's cool. Then you don't have to. You don't have to kind of engage in the chat. Then I mean,
he's just capping, dude. It's okay.
No. I'm not lying. This guy, Tyler22 in my chat.
Oh, okay.
He's like, ask any top tier player and they will agree with me. And he's like, you're not top tier. I'm sorry. LOL. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I should have your chat open now that I realized.
Okay, then what I'm saying is we're playing at a very high level. We have respect from a lot of the other top tier players that come in and enjoy our streams. Why would they, like, we have further discussions with a lot of top tier players about what needs to be changed in the game. I'm explaining furthermore that Lightning Conduit is good. Conduit is very good. I'm not saying it's the best, though. Not even close.
No, I think it is one of the top tier. I would put it, in like an A tier.
It's not, Tyler. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's not the strongest. Bulwark is. Bulwark is far and away the strongest.
Yeah, Bulwark is meta defining. Like, almost everyone who runs Bulwark just has this ability to last in a fight much longer. Conduit does have really strong skill points to the point where it can be very annoying and tough to deal with because it changes everything to throw out a lot of more damage out of the blue. Whereas, say, if you look at something like Frostborn or even Pyro, the damage isn't... It just isn't a, like, it's minimal added damage. It's ways to kind of, like, counteract stuff, whereas with Lightning, you are getting this huge burst of additional damage through all of the skill points.
Right, and in a close range, you are front loading a lot of damage with the skill points. Yes, I agree. I didn't say that Conduit was any sort of bad. Like, I run it because it's great. I enjoy all of the skill points that go into it. But I feel there are still stronger things like currently. With the nerf to Bulwark, do I think that Conduit will go into S tier? Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
If they nerf Bulwark, but again, like we're getting into semantics here.
My thing is, I would like to see them kind of help more of the other elemental-based classes kind of actually up their DPS game.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
That's what makes Conduit strong, is because they just have this ability to make their DPS so great if they put the skills into it.
Right. My thing with going with that, like Toxicologist only has one that really front loads damage. A Toxicologist also does a lot of damage right now with running a Toxic Gauntlet in general, but their only added boost in real raw damage is 20% over the course of 10 seconds or whatever it is with that one skill point. But that's just at baseline. It goes up to, I think, 30 or 40. But it's still, if you have no health, or if you have no armor, you are doing way more damage over the course of 20 seconds or 10 seconds than, whatever. But yeah, I think I would like to see them buff some of the trees for sure. Like I always say, I'd like to see them take away Reborn or whatever, Rebirth.
Phoenix Rebirth.
Yeah. We would if we could. We'd do a squad stream. I would love that because, but neither of us are partnered, so we don't have the availability to do it.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, we can't. Now, if we get partnered, which would be cool, then yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, Lightning Gauntlet's in a good place.
Draw knowledge. Yeah, I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah, it's in beta right now, Lion.
So yeah, my point though is with Toxic. Back to Toxic. And why I think it's like a gauntlet you just always want to run. Namely because the gauntlets that pair really well with it are also all very strong gauntlets. You're talking, well, I mean, it even pairs well, like decently with wind. You can technically, get that toxic whirlwind, which actually does a good bit of damage.
Yeah, I feel like they extended the range, and they just like ninja buffed that, and they didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, that's the way it felt. I was in one earlier today, and I was like, oh, I don't need to worry about this. It's just a toxic wind, whatever. It'll do a little damage. And then I was like, where did my armor go?
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Ninja buff, yes. But, so, to my point being, they buffed the mid-range to it, which makes it, a decent gauntlet to run. You can get some good shots with mid-range to just, kind of make someone back off onto you if they're being a little aggressive. Also gets you to spread some of that toxic pools around because you're going to miss, obviously. And sometimes they can misstep, step into it, take that 5 damage, and if you're also good, you can hit it with a fireball and get a little dragon fire on them and do a few ticks. Which is really good, but my point being was it already had one of the best sorceries in the game because pair it with Frost, if you time it right, you have a ranged freeze ability, which lets your team catch up to an individual or even a group. There have been many times where we have been chasing a group and either myself or like Hash or even Chaz has thrown a toxic and I'll just, shoot it with a frost shot as it lands on them. And then you're talking about freezing the team there, or maybe one or two, and it forces their teammate to kind of, stick around to kind of help them. Right. Getting a ranged stun is pretty darn good. Then when you're talking
ranged immobilize.
Yes, immobilize stun. Yeah, not just like shocked where you can still move, but can't use abilities or anything like that. So that gets.
But it requires a higher skill cap than just hitting one button and putting a stun on somebody. I get that as well. Like
yes, because you have to come.
Also, toxic pairs with lightning and fire.
Yes, but that was my next point. So the lightning pairs really well. Lightning's a good gauntlet, and it's still a good gauntlet at this point. And you throw that toxic cloud, you shoot it, and you get the shock around. So also you get a huge radius of shock. So you're likely to shock 2 people if you throw a good Toxic Cloud. And then also, if you throw a good Toxic Cloud in a point, you can decimate a team. Well, I think it was... Wasn't it? Yeah. It was Gordon yesterday. Gordon just came up on a team, threw a Toxic Cloud, and put the Fireball on them. And the Dragonfire just wiped out the team.
Yeah, it was 2 dudes. They were dead. They died.
Yeah. Well, it was 3. The 1 dude got away, but the 2 got so close to death that all Gordon had to do was just quick throw a Toxic Slap out. And then... and then he just chased the other guy down, and we found him, and we're like, alright, we'll wait for you to kill him, and we kind of... we kind of screwed ourselves, because then Spork ended up killing us at the end of that fight, because we just...
well, I mean, I had no armor, and I just couldn't... And Spork played it so fucking well. And,
yeah, Spork's a guy.
And we'll get to it. Slacking can suck my balls.
Yes.
But
nonetheless, to continue on...
Or slaking, sorry.
And then, you know, as we were talking about the Dragonfire with the Toxic, is very good. And it just gives you this extremely well put together sorcery. And I want to see the other sorceries put together that well. It seems like when they designed Toxic, they made this beautiful weapon that's just... It just combos everything so nicely. And it's all in the nice little package. And it takes a little bit to get used to, but it's nice. But that is
one
my thoughts
thing.
on Toxic.
One thing I'll say about Toxic is
yes.
I suck balls with it, and it blows my mind. Like I understand why it's good, but I need more practice with it. I really haven't. I don't want anything. I'm not salty. Like that guy could suck it. Whatever. If he's gonna be that guy. He's now Tyler 2. And I didn't like Tyler 1 already.
I demand if you get another emote slot, it becomes DJ Grump.
I can do that.
We need a DJ Grump emote. 100%.
Got it.
I'll pay tier 2 for that shit.
DJ Grump happening. Next on the list. So I do think Toxic is really strong right now. And with the movement changes that we had yesterday, Toxic was furthermore real fucking good.
Yes.
Like, it made Blink better. It made Toxic better. It made just like, there's no backpedaling. You are not getting away unless you're playing correctly, which correctly was a complete change from yesterday.
Yeah, and it was stuff to get used to.
The day before that, so. Yep. That's good on Toxic, I think.
Let's talk about the runes a little bit. Yeah, the updates to the animations are pretty awesome. I love the new Blink animation. It is no longer this pixelated mess that's in my face that distracts me every time I use it.
Agreed.
The flight rune, I enjoy, and I understand Chaz's gripe with it, that it no longer he can't turn on a dime and do backflips anymore.
Yeah.
But I think that's what Flight needed. And the fact that they reduced the cooldown, I think it's actually really good in the fact that, like, you get to use it more aggressively. When you have multiple charges, it's actually really fun. They made it so it's not hard to snipe, but you can also, like, because before with people just kind of changing directions all which ways, you like, if someone flew, you kind of were just like, there's no point. But now you can actually have like a nice little snipe to it, and it's not entirely predictable because people can move. God
damn it, Chaz.
Back to what it was. Yeah, but Chaz, if it what it was, I still think it just wouldn't be as competitive as other things like Blink and Shadow Step. I think it was still good in the right hands, and it was fun. I do admit, like, having fun with it. But I think the way they're orienting Flight is a much better way. They may need to turning a tad bit faster though. I
don't know, man.
I could see
that.
They
lowered the cooldown for a reason.
Yeah.
You know?
I could see it a teeny bit faster, but if they make it too fast, then it's just going to make, once again, if you're flying, there's just going to be, like, if someone's trying to snipe you out of the sky, it's just going to be impossible.
Nerf defensive options in this game for maximizing runes has been kind of my... I like aggression, I like fast-paced games, I like lower kill times, and right now kill time was fucking weird. That fights were lasting weirdly long yesterday, and really just extended just battles all around. Literally fighting from the jump until you get to the final circle is a hard and stressful thing when there's only 42 people.
Yeah.
But either way, Flight I think is good. I think it's in a better place than it was before.
Agreed.
With it just being like, hey, I got runic fluency. I'll see you guys on the other side of the map. Deuces. Like, or I'm going into the air forever.
Yes.
Bye. Yeah. So, I understand why Chaz doesn't want it to be nerfed because he wants to make RF rage quit the game. But that's a different story apart in terms of balance. Flight's good. Featherfall now goes higher.
All the people playing prior with the proc makes it annoying as a low tier player. Oh, Bushy's top tier in my book. Chat.
Thanks, Dallas. I appreciate you checking that out. By the way, I got another friend in my channel.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Shit, Bushy's top tier. Oh, fuck. Now,
DJ Grove.
What am I gonna do, guys?
If I played more, it would be rank 1 easy.
Definitely.
You better, Bushy.
I agree, Bushy. Let's get to class changes. Scout, better place. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Cool.
I think as a whole, we should just talk about the Scout, Scholar, and Invisibility changes. Were actually beautiful. I think they're beautiful. You, yesterday, when you were playing Scout, was actually really nice. Because people would go invisible, and we would know that they were invisible because, you know, they would obviously appear invisible, but you got that nice little blue outline on them, and you're like, oh, haha, you're not really invisible. Which also makes it become one of those things where you actually have to watch that buff bar now. If you get shot and you have any form of invisibility, you need to watch and be like, okay, I have to wait.
Just I did catch myself watching it. Like if I got hit with the Scout, I was like, oh shit, I can't do anything for 5 seconds. This guy knows where I am. I'm not going to eat a pot or anything. So that was nice. I like the changes.
Crack Shot changes obviously were much vastly needed. I think it's in a good place. I haven't got to try it as much as I wanted to yesterday because I was doing the whole class unlock stuff. So, and I had finished that right towards the end of our stream. So I played it one round and we got stomped on by TIS Evolution and Eureka Wolf and them. We just came in and that was when we had the one fight. We came out with half health and then we stumbled upon them, fully kitted, and we were just like,
yeah.
Yeah. As for
which, by the way, we're not complaining that we got third party or anything. We're talking about a thing that happened in the game.
Yes.
Not to say that not to take anything away from the TIS guys. Those guys are dope.
Yeah, no, we have some great duels with them, and they're a lot of fun. Pretty cool people.
I think that the class entry level stuff for learning the game for new players, sure, it's fine. I guess it's serviceable for now, but they need to add a lot to it.
Okay.
They need to do explanations of what the classes do and how you should play them, I think, as you unlock them, as opposed to just like, oh, here's 3 classes that you can unlock. Cool. Here's 3 more classes that you can unlock. Oh, now it's down to 1, but there's no real information other than you reading what the skills do that really, and you inferring what the class could do.
Yes.
That's just me.
My thing, I agree. My thing with it is if you're going to make a class campaign, make it an actual class campaign. Don't, only for a few instances did they say, play this specific class for a single round, and all you had to do was play it. You could go in, play it, drop, die immediately, and then you never would have actually learned about the class.
Yeah.
It would make things a little longer in terms of unlocking, which for players like us who have already had everything unlocked as we go into it, we're like, we just want to do the hack to get all the games. But like I said yesterday, I went through the entire class unlock because I wanted to see how it feels and how you like how like I was thinking from a new player perspective how it feels to go into this and get these class campaigns, and the class campaigns are pretty much just dailies on another form, which I would have liked it if they made the class campaign something different, where it's like, yes, like, you know, play this class and, you know, like try out certain elements of it, you know, like make it something more involved with the actual classes itself, rather than just go into a game, you know, hit like 3 of the skill points that are around the arcane chests, I think they're called, right?
Mana vaults.
Mana vaults. You know, like revive teammates and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's obviously promoting you to different elements in the game, but those are elements that are already known. Whereas, like classes and combos, like why not have something where it's just like go into a match and perform a Dragonfire combo, or play Tempest and use your Tempest to like use the Whirlwind sorcery to, you know, or Tornado sorcery to propel yourself up a few times. Like, make it stuff that integrates, like, you using class sorceries and the gauntlets, and even, like, engages the combos. Like, tell people to, like, you know, use your freezing sorcery on, like, 3 people. And,
in a match. Yeah.
In a match, or something like that, you know?
Something like that, yeah.
You know, something that... Show off the combos, show off the sorceries. Because if they're going to make it for something that someone's new, they should make it also a nice way to sort of make it almost like a tutorial, but obviously not really. They're just trying to show you what's all in the game. Without, you know, having you actually have to go through some tutorial where you fight AI that, you know, obviously aren't really like players.
That's actually the most important clip for top tier players to watch. Come Get Your Mans is pretty important.
Should we watch this?
You can watch that.
Alright, what's going on?
To show what top tier players look like, apparently.
Do you want sound?
Yeah, absolutely. Yo, come get your mans.
Oh my god.
Just punch those guys.
No. Right?
Punch the earth.
It gives me even greater pleasure that he's doing this all with an uncommon gauntlet.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't legendary. So you know it's tough, dude.
Dude. Come get ya mans. Holy shit, they're not even gonna...
He stuck that res too, and then we proceeded to win. It was a glorious match.
There you go.
When player is legendary, the gear doesn't matter. Exactly.
Or, yeah, sure.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Oh god, snooze.
Snooze. You know this is going on YouTube. No further! No further! That is enough. No. Like anyway. I get monetized on YouTube. Ha! Kappa.
So... God.
Hi.
Steady aim, better skill point now than it was. Still kind of whack, my opinion.
Yeah. I think if they want to promote ground play like they're trying to, I honestly think they should change it to just staying on the ground.
What we're talking about. We talked about it in the other episode. Just make you be on the ground.
Yeah.
Just steady aim. Your legs are planted on the ground, firmly, running. If you're on the ground, eventually you do more damage.
Call it like firm footing or something, if they want to
get like the opposite of the other one in Tempest, where you're up in the air. The opposite of Squall. Get it together. Come on, guys.
It makes
content,
sense.
Baby.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, especially...
Go ahead, what did you say?
Oh, I was just going to say, especially since technically using your runes is not moving, so you have 5 blinks, you could just blink upward. And you can technically have the
buff.
The buff. Which does make it more technical, upward. Which is nice. I still, like, the change is nice. It is good. I just think it's still weird. It's still a little weird, but, you know, they can do improvements. As for the item changes in it, I know Chaz has played with the Eruption. It's obviously something you can jump over, but it still seems to be good. As it does Let's have a good spread. I think its spread's good. I think it's okay if you don't have something like Behemoth Amulet or even Leech.
I'm wondering, like, when we see Stone Shaper start to come to, like, I would like to see these amulets be green, because these amulets, they affect, like, a gauntlet. They should be more prevalent, right?
Yes.
Like, it shouldn't be like, okay, I'm looking for this specific amulet of eruption to make my build what I need it to be. Like, the legendaries and stuff can be generalized, but these epics are very specific and very rare in terms of that. Like, it just does, it seems like, why should I take Stone Shaper and try and get the shockwaves to bounce off walls and do dope shit if I'm probably not going to get an eruption until mid to late game?
I think of all of our matches yesterday, me personally, I only saw 2 to 3 of them.
I think I saw 6-ish. I'm trying to think back. I was thinking about this earlier.
Out of what, like 30 matches? Probably actually more than that.
We won 13. No, we won 14. I think I'd agree. Out of 30 to 40 matches.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to see Conflag taken out of the goddamn game and its randomness.
I think, they need to take it out of the game until they fix it.
Like,
the idea behind it makes sense. You know, you hit someone, 3 fireballs pop out. But the fact that you randomly have these scenarios where Conflag Amulet is just straight hitting the target, so you can get, you know, with a Legendary Gauntlet, you can get, what, nearly 80 damage? It's like
85 is baseline. So if you have a Legendary Gauntlet, you can get 85 because it's 10 added per.
And if you hit all 3, and you hit a 45 shot.
Or 75, sorry, you're right. If you hit a 45 shot. But then if you have Crack Shot, which a lot of fire users do take, you're hitting that 45 shot is now 50, or 45 is now 58, I think is what it equals out to. I forget off the top of my head. But it does add to the fireballs themselves, because they all count as the one spell cast. So you ended up doing like 98 damage with one hit. Like, and a fireball. Get the fuck out of here.
Now,
like,
granted, this is also very random. Which
this is why Scavenger is popular as well. Yes.
Which I both like and dislike, because you can run Scavenger, but your RNG can also still be god-awful. There are multiple games I've played Scavenger, and I have gotten poop diddly.
Yeah.
Like,
but then you see some dude running Scavenger, and you're like, you have a belt of runic fluency and a slaking belt in your hands, and you have a legendary fire, legendary
toxic
wind in your offhand, toxic in your inventory or whatever, you know, and you're just like,
and then Behemoth Amulet, it's just like, you're
just like, what happened, man? How many chests did you open to do that? You know, like,
it's also true in the fact that I've seen people completely kit it with Scavenger who have had 0 exiles. Meanwhile, we're sitting with a ton of exiles. Like, across our team, we have maybe 15 exiles. And we've also looted. Like, I understand, like, we didn't hit as many, don't get cocky now. We haven't hit as many chests. That makes sense why they, you know, have more RNG possibilities. But it just becomes this thing where it's also now, like, if you're running Scavenger, I feel like it's almost beneficial for you to just land out in Bumblefuck and just go, you know, find loot and just sit like that and then fight at the very end, which also isn't my preferred playstyle, but I also understand that that's a way that you can just get loot, but also you could end up in the scenario where you just get nothing and it still sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and then like, the only way to really combat that is, like, if somebody's taking Zealot and you're out scaling your opponents via skill points. Because if you're fighting, chances are you're not getting skill points as much. It's just like, there's like a lot of overarching ideas of how to play the game, and one of them seems like way stronger than the other right now, in that items are so good.
Yeah, if you can get yourself kitted, as long as you get yourself to endgame and you can spend all the time learning how to fight, in the very beginning, learning to fight at a deficit and so forth. But if you spend your entire time looting and you actually know how to fight, by the time you get to the end game, because you're completely kitted, you have all your pots, you have the slaking belt, you have your perfect gauntlet combinations, you have your perfect rune, like everything's perfect for you, then you're going to be a hell of a lot more confident going into fights because you have your build and you already know you're comfortable with it. And yeah, there's a lot of good top tier players in this game, so when you go and fight them, you're just like going to be more confident because you have all your loot and you also haven't fought at all. Whereas
to speak on the top tier thing real quick, obviously we aren't. But continue.
True that. Skill points are RNG too, though, because the two choices are random. Yeah, which also
brings it to a point where, like, yeah, they're random, but when you have two classes that every skill point is worth it, like Bulwark and Conduit, and sometimes Pyromancer, it's less so. It becomes like, what is more effective for me to succeed in this game? Obviously, looking at the metagame, Bulwark always wins out if you're farming skill points, because you just get insane towards the end. Anyways, let's move on to reactive.
Yeah, which you
butt cheeks. Butt cheeks.
Yeah, I don't think that's worth it at all.
Why? With the bloom change, now I'm adding a fourth shot to one click. Get out of here. Get out of here with that trash. And you're lowering my damage. I'm already missing enough shots. I don't need to be lowered.
Do something else with it, please.
Yes. If you're gonna give me a fourth shot, don't reduce my entire damage clip. Come on.
Did you get to play with crosswinds?
It's extra butt cheeks.
Extra butt cheeks. I had someone who said that they really enjoyed the new crosswinds. I personally have not tested it out yet, or tested it out in a game. I feel like testing out in the practice doesn't really give you all that much, because you're just shooting against the mobile.
I hit somebody with it with a wind, and then I threw it on the ground.
You threw it on the ground.
Grounding boots, I thought would be a lot worse than they are. They're fine. Whatever. Passable. Yeah. Good buff to grounding boots. I like it.
Yeah. I'd like to see all of the elements have something like this. Like, cause what is it? It's shock. Like, there's nothing with on fire. Like, if there's fire on the ground, that you can step over the fire. I think they need a boot that does that. They have the ice so that you can stick on the ice so you don't slide. They have the toxic puddles,
which is just immune to them.
Yeah, which is just immune to them. And then, I mean, there isn't really anything you can do for wind aside from...
We talked about that as well. Diluting the loot pool is kind of a prevalent thing that has been happening.
They need to consolidate. If they made, like, a set of boots that all dealt with a certain element, I'm cool with that. If they're all
I got an idea. Why don't they make one epic amulet that boosts your spells in general? Give this all to one amulet, because none of these are really doing something, because chances are you're running two gauntlets, right? You're boosting one gauntlet with an amulet. Like, what's the problem with boosting two, or technically three, I guess? Like, these changes are just, I don't know. It feels like, one, you've diluted the pool with 4 amulets, or 5. Lightning, or reactive, or no, because ice doesn't have one. Ice does. One. Sorry, ice refraction. Sorry,
ice refraction can flag, crosswinds, infected,
and
reactive, and eruption.
So you have 6. Okay,
yeah. And that's just for gauntlets.
That's right. And these is just amulets. These are 6 epic amulets. This dilutes the epic pool by so much. Like,
well, on top of that, you have the dexterous as well, so that's 7 epic amulets.
Yeah, dexterous, and then you there's another epic amulet, I thought, but either way, you're diluting this pool of epic items. Like, where the gauntlets come from? This is why we're having a gauntlet epic, or like damage disparity as well, because you're diluting this pool with these amulets. Why not have something like what is that staff in Dota? That your ultimate's now better.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, if they just, I think if they just worked on the legendary, and personally, I still think they should just go rare, epic, legendary. I think they should do that big of a crunch and just go rare, epic, legendary, because I think the disparities are too huge at this point. I understand they want to have this kind of like randomness to the game, but at the same time, I think when you make it too big, it becomes frustrating, a little annoying, because then you have to account for so many variables, and it becomes really annoying to also figure these variables out.
Right.
Like yesterday when we were against Spork, we thought he was probably running Stone Shaper. And he was holding on to those points to get his shield back, because he just kept getting his shield back. Turns out he was just quickly swapping the slacking, quickly going around a tree, popping a pot, and then swapping to his reinforce, and then just jumping back up in the air and fighting us again. So he was getting off these really quick armor regens and doubling the armor. So a single small pot he's able to cast in under probably like under a second, I think?
Second and a half.
Second and a half. So he can cast it on a second and a half, and then he gets
small
40
pots 40 RM.
Yeah. Which
pretty
is
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy in a fight, because that can help, stop another shot. Like I had gotten him down to health in that fight, and then he ended up winning because he was able to just get those quick pots off because he quick swapped slacking. But the entire time, because we kept hitting armor, we just assumed that, oh wow, this man has Stone Shaper.
Skill points saved for days. And we were wrong. We were very wrong. But either way, that ended up not even being a win for him because the game was bugged.
Yes, which we'll get into shortly.
Okay, so I think that these increased in gauntlet powers should be consolidated into one. I don't think they're, and that makes it a really strong, really sought after amulet as opposed to diluting your epic pool. But let's go. What was the next one on that? Oh, those are changes.
It was just kind of like overall things. The other thing, the things I'd like to get talking on about the movement, before we talk about the movement, is just a quick general, or at least, let's start with your opinion on just like the map changes. What do you think about them just changing the map all the time?
I think it's a waste of time. Like, I get that, like, you're trying to attract new players with cool things that other BRs aren't doing. We already have that. We are Spellbreak. We are doing cool things with gauntlets, where we're limiting what... There are 6 gauntlets. There are 12 things that you can cast, technically. You're combining elements. That's awesome. Like, we already have that coolness factor. Why are you trying to like arrange the map in such a way that that's also cool? Like try and change it there when we should be looking at a little bit more balancing right now and then change the map. Like you can do the stuff at the same time, but focus more on the balance changes rather. I would like to have seen Bulwark and Crackshot get nerfed in the same patch. Like because Bulwark is so oppressive in comparison to Crackshot was very strong. But these are 2 massive classes that needed adjusting. What the hell is the Fracture doing to fix that? You know?
Right. It's just kind of... Now, obviously, there is a map design and probably, graphical design team that's obviously...
There are separate sections. Like, obviously, the design team of the map is not working on the balance changes to the gauntlets, to the classes, to the items. I get that.
Yeah, but
go ahead. What are you saying?
So I think the thing though is, like, yes, obviously they should be working on balance changes and so forth. There's a whole other team dedicated to that. I think my main gripe with these map changes is the fact that they haven't even perfected their map as is. They updated Fort Halcyon, and when they did that, any fight, and now it almost seems with the Fracture, every fight that we get in, when there's more than 3 squads, I'd say, my frames are plummeting. Like I will spike between having sub 60 frames and then I'll be back up to 144 in a random blue. I do not have a tiny minuscule computer. I have a powerhouse of a computer. There is no reason that I should be jumping from my typical 144 and going down to sub 60 just because we're fighting people. in the areas. This was very prevalent in Fort Halcyon when they did the updates, and now that the fracture's kind of all over, it seems anytime we're in any area with a ravine that there's a fracture near, not necessarily that close, but it's causing these frame drop issues. And if you're getting that stuff wrong when you're trying to update the map, like, you should keep the map as is and say, hey, you know what? We're going to work on making our map, like, the overall stability better, which obviously might also not be on the design team's part. The other thing, though, is they also don't even have hitboxes in the map correct.
Right.
Which is why I was hoping to find that tree, but it was all of 20 seconds. We kind of laughed at it as we were going through, and I should have clipped it yesterday, but I think I closed my stuff when I was restarting and updating stuff to get stuff together.
We can also look at the that wall that's just over right above Hope's End.
Yeah,
over near there. There's just a wall, just an invisible wall out there. These are things like, we are only playing one map, and a lot of us are playing 5-10 games plus a day, because your hardcore players are going to be playing obviously way more than anybody else. We're going to find this stuff, but it's frustrating that we don't see the changes to those things that we find fixed in a relatively decent amount of time. Like, they're changing the core mechanics of the game when they're not making the game itself. Like they said, they want movement more fluid and smooth. Well, these are inhibiting that. Like, this sucks to play against, because not only are you playing against the opponent, now you're playing against the map. I don't like that.
There have been
I don't like that
times,
as much.
There have been too many times I've accidentally just... Not even accidentally, it's just because I'm like, yes, I can jump over this, or I can walk through this area, or, oh, there's one of these little, like, ridges in the wall, because, you know, they have those a few spikes every so often, so I can jump through that because there's an opening there. Oh, wait, no, there's a random wall there that's invisible that I can't see. I'm now falling to the ground where my opponent is, and I have no health, and this was going to give me the advantage where I could have healed. And it just seems weird to me that they're making these map changes when they really should be focusing on fine-tuning their map environments, where I'm not randomly walking into a wall when I'm just playing. Of which I'm just gonna jump into a game. Obviously, there's a lobby, so I have to wait. But I'm gonna jump into a game and I'll show some of the walls. I'll just run around and show walls and land at stuff.
Okay.
So we can.
But to discuss, I think it's just frustrating that the map isn't as optimized as we'd like it, and they're making a lot of changes to it without fixing those problems that we have. And they're in every game. They're not random. So sucks.
And it just and it sucks with the movement. Where are you landing? I'll show you a wall. It's gonna be a stone gauntlet to my face, Chaz. I know. In case you're wondering, it's just the Hope's End area, that one castle.
So, you know, it's there's frustrating moments in the development process of the map as a whole.
Yeah,
I think these holes in the ground are just kind of a waste.
They make for funny clips. We've seen people fall through them.
Yeah, like Chaz yesterday, top tier player,
or top tier teammate, just
top tier teammate. He's like, I have to jump backwards against this team. I'm in a hole and I can't even be rezzed. My loot's gone, everything's gone. That is not good design. Personally, I don't think that's good.
Yeah, it promotes some more map awareness, but it's...
I mean, you could do that with still... Like, we won the fight after that. Why can't we res our teammate?
Yeah, right. I'm sure he had a reason.
I mean, he was playing with other top-tier players like me, and he was expecting me to do the same thing, like jump into a ravine, but... That
was like, there was other portions... Oh, shit. Yeah, it's kind of right over in that same, like, Fort Halcyon... or no, it's up by Wickrave. There's portions of the fracture where what literally happened is in these ravines, which that's where all the fractures happened, they pushed earth up, and they also push like some of it down. So now you have these kind of ways to quick hide behind something in a fight, to maybe block some shots or take a pop frost shot, or something along those lines.
I like those.
And that makes sense. That's a cool design, because now you're saying like, oh, in these open areas, we're going to give you a small little like area to kind of pop out to. Those are nice.
You're not just out in the open, just getting blasted by a full team.
Okay. I found the tree with the wall. So I'm quick swipping over to the desktop. So here, over in this area, right above Hope's End to the right, there is this tree that from here to here, there is a wall.
All the way to that tree.
Yeah, you actually get stuck in this tree. I was auto running and I was like, why am I stuck in this tree? And then I went to hit my A key to go to the side. I'm like, wait, why am I going backwards? It's meant to be one of these walls. I actually can't recall if the wall was here before or not. It might have just disappeared, because it looks like, the path at least, it opens up back as the path was. I think there was meant to be a little wall here, and it might have been removed, or they might have never actually put it in. And stuff like that could be really annoying in a fight. Now, granted, you can also jump over it. So it is about the height of these walls, because you can just easily jump over these. And it just becomes one of those things that's, like, really annoying. And look,
for no reason.
There's still more wall! There's still more wall over here. It's meant to wrap all the way around. And it's just, it's no bueno. No bueno.
So, that's a bummer.
If you just send me the clip, I can put it on my browser. So I'm gonna run off to those other, and hopefully not die, to one of those fractures that look good. I'll just swap over back to us. So, which I accidentally clicked off this. So yeah, it's like they could do better jobs with the fractures and so forth, and the map, which all ties into the movement, because I want fluidity in the movement. Actually, even here isn't terrible.
It's my GD.
But I know that. Oh, are you desyncing? Rip. No, don't DC. This happens every time. Okay, actually, this is a really good example over here. So,
okay, it should be good.
Okay, cool. Now that I've gotten to it, I might as well just swap over to it. Why not? So, like here, like as you see, the fracture has actually bumped up a portion of it, which is nice because you can crouch behind it. Now, granted, that's not much. You do become much less of a target if you're hiding behind this. This isn't much, and people can obviously jump over and shoot you. But it gives a means to get blocked. And even this over here, if you're fighting someone over here, you could quick hide behind a shot on this. If you have frost, you could quick jump over and take a shot. Right. And there's more of this up this way. There's more of these areas that are just knocked up. And I like that for a fracture.
Well designed.
That makes sense. But then you come over to these portions where there's just giant holes in the earth. And their sole purpose is when you jump in them, you die. And somehow I finished top 15. Haha. Let's go. Well, this is squads, so, and I was solo. Because that's all that's left. But.
So, it's just. I don't know. I don't think that was a good design choice there. But I understand them wanting to change the map. I understand them wanting to give some more cool places to be, but like I said, I would like you were saying, biodomes where things are changed. I want to see like a white spire. I want to see where some mage that was mega powerful, a breaker, so to speak, that wrecked somewhere that is now wrecked with like a swamp toxic area. Now, I don't want to take damage when I go there the whole entire time, but I do want the trees to look different. I do want the swamp area to look different. I don't want to be like Dustpool, where my vision is obstructed for no real reason. You know?
Yeah.
I would say like a green hue, fine. Like green hue in a swampland.
Yeah.
I have to adjust my eyes to look for different things, but I shouldn't just not be able to see somebody because they're further out than... I don't know. I don't like Dustpool.
Yeah, no, I hear that. But yeah, no, like, they should do... They should do some biome changes and so forth if they're going to do changes at all. But I still think that they need to focus. Their main priority should be focusing on making the map as is now solidified. Like, make it so that there's like, obviously there were always, when they do updates and so forth, there's probably going to be some issues every time they update the map and so forth. But every time they update the map, there should be like new bugs with the update in the map in itself that can be, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, we just have to easily correct this stuff. But there shouldn't still be pre-existing ones. I didn't get to some of them, but there were still some areas up near where we usually go, on the far right side of the map. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me now, but there's portions in the castle walls that I can't jump through.
Yeah.
And that has been there for the past 3 patches.
Yeah.
And that's...
So I mean, we can move on to... Yeah, we have our frustrations with Shaman Sundering. Yeah.
Shaman Sundering. Yes. But yeah, so the movement changes. So to go over
Yesterday was bad.
Yes, yesterday was very bad. A lot of people voiced their opinions, and it seems the feedback was a lot. Even Sonic Cowboy made his opinions known, and he actually put together a really solid post, which I'm actually going to kind of go over a little bit, because his feedback actually made a lot of sense to me, and it was good. So he found an excerpt from the Discord where it was Proletariat Seth, and he said, a revert? No. They're not going to just completely revert the movement. The changes were made to previous because the previous behavior incentivized jumping over strafing on the ground, and we did not want to encourage bunny hopping. But with all the changes, we're listening to feedback and discussing the further changes we want to make. Just like with hover, as an example, we revisit this stuff. Which makes sense. I think they did a really great job with the hover. I really like it. It's very impressive. And yesterday, Sauna, during our streams, he was watching 12 other people play. He was watching a ton of people play. And he had them all open via his Khadgar on 3 monitors, and he was observing people in fights. And people are still jumping non-stop because, you know, people using stone...
I'm out of the frame, by the way.
Oh, whoops. Oh, right. My bad. Sorry, he's back. I forgot I had to use the Discord stuff to get to it. Thank you for that. So yeah, he was looking at the stuff, and he was just thinking, like, everyone's still gonna jump. There's still just a lot of advantages to jumping. There's no kind of overall punishment to it, and, like, you know, it helps you completely avoid stone shots, and it just, you know, also people are used to jumping. Now, granted, people might have gotten used to it, but that being said, it, like, no matter what, I think people are gonna jump in this game. Also, when you have a game where you can jump, you're gonna jump.
Yep.
And he said, after he was doing some consideration with this, he landed on the 2 possible solutions, which was removing jumping, which no one really wants. Come on. But obviously, if they want to if they want to punish jumping so much, then they could also just remove it. But the other one was have a momentum loss in the air, making jumping actually worse than non-jumping. Like he said, like, jumping's not likely to cease. So jumping nonstop allows you to look while maintaining your desired course of movement, and that allows you to have your map awareness, which definitely works for me when I'm an ice player and I'm backtracking and I'm trying to play people. You know, it just helps me keep eyes on where my opponent is rather than having to turn around, jump forward, and then do another 180. That's very, very annoying. And if you're trying to do this on the ground, your movement takes too large of a hit, especially with the way strafing works. Luckily, they did improve the strafing. They did improve the backpedaling today with the update and the hotfix. And I think it's much better. And I think his point at the end where he was saying he would like to see the movement more smooth and fluid and natural, as that seems obviously to make the game more attractive. I know DJ hasn't had the option to play the new updates to it, but I did...
Not yet, but we'll have to show.
Yeah, after the show, we will. I did have the option to jump in with Chaz for a little bit. The movement feels much more natural, to the point where your backwards speed is only 100 less, so that's not bad at all. And just kind of like moving around in general feels kind of more what it was, but like not too crazy, and you being on the ground doesn't hurt as much either.
You not having Blink Rune and Shadow Step doesn't make you the easiest target in the goddamn world for dragon firing, because you can't actually, like, if you're fighting somebody and you need to jump backwards, that is an instant dragon fire, easy peasy, you're out of the game, bro.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
But
so yeah,
lowering baseline movement was not my answer. Lowering top tier movement was my answer.
That being said, I still do think that Blink needs a nerf, but at the end we'll kind of discuss on what we think. At the end we'll discuss what we hope for in patch 0.23. But as quickly today, they made it their statement. Basically, they just made it their statement about how they want to make jumping not as prevalent as it was before. They want to kind of give some more ground movement, some viability, and like they changed with the hover. They did a really good job with that, and people are definitely happy with that, at least from what I've seen.
If they want to do this, why don't they change teleport to be very short range, very quick cooldown? Force me to be on the ground. Like, if I have to teleport, the end of my teleport has to hit something,
Yes. Well, also they need to make sure teleport doesn't send you back a teleport.
Yeah, but I mean, fix teleport, but make it more in line with flight, where the end result is I have to be on the ground for the next portion of time. Make it like 1,000. Make the cast time a little bit different. This increases aggressive play with like Toxic or something like that. Give it 2 charges. Use it for getting in, getting out. I can, or what would be crazy is take teleport out of the game and make it teleport slash, like a Genji move or something, where if I'm on the ground, I now become the freaking the stone shape, the stone attack, and I dash to the end of it, and do damage. That could be really cool. Sorry.
It would be cool. Brutal
but
to code and really annoying for people, but yes, cool.
I agree. It would be brutal to code, but this is one situation where point A to point B, you could add damage through it. You have a straight line usually. Like, this could be something that changes the movement in a healthier way.
I guess.
I think. I don't know. That's me personally. Like, I know runes. They don't want runes to do damage, so to speak. But it just seems like they're. I don't know. It's frustrating to me. It's just frustrating.
No, it's okay. We are all frustrated after this patch. Yesterday we were very frustrated.
Dude, I full tilted was like, I do not want to play this game anymore today. I played for 7.5 hours. I'm good. I'm good. Well, normally I could play for a while and enjoy myself.
For a while. You have a very long stance for a while. If it's more than 7 hours.
16 hours is a while.
Yeah, I waited here a while. Wait, here 16 hours? What the fuck? We were just going to see a movie that's been out. What the hell, man? No.
So I'm hopefully going to like these movement changes and make them feel better so that I don't have to duel Sir Panda sauce in the air while neither of us can move to the right or left and we're just blasting each other.
I agree.
Silly. There was one situation where my movement felt a little weak and I kind of noticed it after I stopped streaming and I thought about it. Croc came up with a conflag gauntlet and put me in the dirt. He did not miss a shot, like 4 shots in a row, and I had 250 health, and I didn't have that anymore after those 4 shots. And I was like, wow, like Croc outplayed the shit out of me. 1, 2, my movement was butt cheek. Did I DC again?
No, you're good.
Weird. All my streams just had an explosion.
Yeah.
getting
But,
terrible. Maybe I need to get a new router.
Probably.
Yeah. What is going on?
But yeah,
What is happening?
Sana said a little bit ago, like, ground movement ain't never happening, but this hotfix is a good thing. I agree. So one thing I've noticed when I've been playing is, and especially with the way they updated the movement in the beginning of the patch, obviously the hotfix, you did so bad. With the hotfix, when I was playing it, I was just, all I could say was, I have to play wind now. There's no, I have to play wind. And I'm not, the hugest fan of playing wind. I like using my mana for other things and just, hopping up in the air. Granted, wind, still very good, but I think with the update, wind became almost, an absolute necessity. There's no way you could run without it.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, a lot of the top-tier players would disagree with me on that, and I'm like, cool, whatever. You do you. I just want to have fun when I'm playing this, and I have fun when I'm not playing wind. So, follow my heart. Screw all y'all. Nonetheless. Oh, sorry.
I kind of agreed, but I run 3 gauntlets, and I don't like running 4. But I see why you would not want to run 3 or 4.
Yeah, calm down.
4 for you, but
yeah, 4 for me. But the way it was before is anytime you're up in the air, which I use my blink to keep up, or I'll use shadow step to keep up in the air, as my means, and then I'll try and take the fight to a ground or something. But with the update in its original form, whenever I land it, I felt like moving around was just butt cheeks, so being on the ground was actually such a huge disadvantage. Whereas now with the hotfix, the movement, at least when I get to the ground, I can actually dodge things, I can actually, function on the ground as a human being and not feel like butt cheeks.
Yep. I can't wait to try it.
Alright.
So overall, the changes, what's your take?
Overall, they had some good direction. I think I'm really happy to see that they hotfixed the movement very quickly. They were very receptive to the community's feedback. They gave it a day to see how people played. So people obviously played enough of it. They played enough of it, and there was enough people that raged, gave feedback, and said, this is not what we want. And Proletariat said, okay, we hear you. We're going to make some changes in the direction to make this mobility a little more fluid for you guys. And I think they did exactly that. I think it's in a lot better state. It's not like what it was, but I think they have made the movement consistent. And this is something that I said in our previous episode, where they need to keep it fluid and smooth and consistent. Obviously people with Blink and Shadow Step, they're going to be able to do things, to move in kind of randomness orders, but that's the whole point of it. Whereas keeping the movement with hovering consistent across the gauntlets, and people, on the ground, their movement more consistent with the range not being so huge, it's just going to make nice for a projectile-based game to be more conducive for players who are starting out. It's a lot easy. I would feel as a new player coming into this, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier for people to understand the movement mechanics. Because there's not these large disparities in how everyone's moving based off what they're using and so forth. You just have to figure out the disparities between Featherfall, Blink, Teleport, all the movement-based runes. You just have to get used to those. And that's fine, but normal people moving around, you can, that is something I think players will be now very easily able to pick up. And make it not so difficult anymore.
Agreed.
That being said, map changes, they need to fix their map first. When they fix their map, I will welcome any map changes wholeheartedly. Especially this being in a closed alpha state, they should be focusing more on keeping the players who are here trying to, play out the gameplay to a high tier state and you know, when you have these stupid things where you just bump into something that shouldn't be there, and then you end up dying for it's gonna frustrate you, especially when they just are adding new stuff to the map.
Build a solid foundation. I agree. Real quick to touch on that philosophy, I agree with that for this game. Whereas something like Anthem, where they said they were going to add a lot of things and they haven't really added as much, but they still haven't fixed anything that was really broken in the first place. It's like, at least give us one. You know, they're giving us a little bit of both. Yeah, Anthem has been a dumpster fire for a while now, and I'm good on it. I'm good. I read the patch changes today, and it made me laugh. It made me fucking lol. Like, I actually laughed out loud. I was like, this is embarrassing, guys. We were supposed to be a AAA title. We were doing good. Oh, this is embarrassing. They had a new stronghold, and they buffed Storm in the dumbest way possible. It's just like, all right, whatever, guys.
Yeah, but like I said, they need to work on making, like, that's what I hope in the next patch. I think in my sort of order of priority would be fix the map. None of these invisible walls, like, that are being really annoying. Fix the stability of the map as players are going throughout, because there's a clear, for almost everyone, there's a clear disparity when people are in Fort Halcyon with their frame rate.
I agree.
I think they definitely need to do class balancing. 100% on Bulwark, and even some of the others they can touch on as well. If they have the time and manpower, but I think they 100% need to focus on Bulwark to begin with. And then, you know, other stuff I would say is kind of just like small changes and so forth. And I think at some point I hope that they do a kind of item scrunch, but I don't expect that within another release for them balancing stuff.
No. We're looking at release from alpha to beta. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I just would like to see an item crunch at some point. I think I agree. I'd like to see the map be more fluid, more optimized, and then I would like to see, because that's 90% what we're doing. We're playing on the map, or we're playing in the fun zone, which is the lobby, where we're just shooting gauntlets, which is kind of a waste that they're even changing any of it. What does it matter? Stop touching that. Put everybody that goes into the game, make it fluid, make it optimized. Second, class changes. Yeah, I agree. Third, item changes. We can adjust the meta around item changes. We can't adjust the meta around lag.
Yeah, exactly. That being said, I forgot about the one most important thing that I saw was post that actually made me really happy with Proletariat's post on Proletariat's Law. His post on the movement changes. At the end, he had said, one last thing to mention. A hallmark of classic postmortems is how can we avoid this situation like this going forward. In response to that, he's started to formalize plans, or they've started to formalize plans for a player council. While there's nothing specific set yet, the goal is for player council will be to give a group of interested players a way to see and play early development builds and features and give us their structured feedback to help shape the patches in the game. I think that is the most beautiful thing they could obviously do. It's kind of like a PTR, but obviously you're having a select group of players, and I'm really, really hoping that they actually get players who think constructively about everything. I won't lie, it would be really awesome if, some of us got on it. It'd be really cool. Nonetheless,
I would like to just see Chaz cloned 16 times over and Chaz lobbies.
Yes.
Personally. He's a top tier player, guys. A legendary player, in fact.
He's legendary.
Yes, I agree, and I was going to touch on that as well. I would like to see players that are anxious about the game, that want to see it succeed. I don't want to see these players that are frustrated that are already angry and already kind of quitting the game be trying to drawn back in by, hey, we're gonna come to you for balance changes. It's like, dude, those aren't the guys. Those guys are easily aggressed. Those guys are looking at a very focalized point. Like, people that are still playing the game a good amount every week, I'd like to see that. Like, yeah. I don't know if I would even be the best person to... I play a lot. I played the second most in the entire servers last week. You know, but am I the best person to have on that council, you know? Like, is my opinion worth its weight when it comes to something like that? If I, as a streamer, have to almost follow a trend with like worrying about my viewers, worrying about that first, you know, that's kind of a risk that I would like to see, like kind of avoided. I want to see players that are passionate about the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why, if I can't always, if not, thanks, Marcus. I can just take my shirt off for a living. It's already almost off. Look at this deep V. We talked about this earlier. I'm basically wearing a blanket. Or a very small sheet. But I would like to see players that are very passionate about the game. I would like to see the pro players is a risk in general, just because their aim is to be very good at the game itself, not if the game health is good for the entire player base. That's a risk as well that I'm scared to see.
Okay, there are some very good pro players who are also good at giving feedback, for sure. First and foremost, I would like to see Kalnor on that list. Not Kalenor, Kalenor, or however you want to say it. I think he's very smart, as well, and I'm not discounting his skill. I think he's a phenomenal player, way better than I am. Seven's amazing. Like, these guys are phenomenal. I'm not taking anything away from them. But I want to see positivity go into the council. I don't want to see frustration. I don't want to see arguments. I want to see, like, okay, hey guys, this change, I like where your head's at, but this is a weird way of going about it. This is implemented in, if we implement this into the game, I think this is not healthy for the game state, type of thing. You know, constructive criticism. Be able to talk about your points. Sonic Cowboy is a prime example. Yes. You know, Help a Dog, prime example. Oh yeah.
Like, these guys are passionate about the game. They're smart. They're articulate. They get their point across without any sort of aggression. That's healthy for that council.
Well, I've seen Sana have some shade. No, I'm kidding, Sana. But no, yeah, I agree. Like, there are awesome people out there. Sometimes he's passive aggressive.
I want to see another council that Spellzy leads. That is the Tilt Council, where we just talk shit about the other council. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to join that council. That's just like, you know what? Fuck those guys for getting in there. You know what? We're going to get in their games, and we're going to fucking... all we're going to do is run the one-shot kill builds, and we're going to shit on them.
Right? You're going to faction the councils.
Open recruiting.
Oh, Spellzy. Also, hi, Spellzy.
But, you know what? Spellzy, I agree with... we didn't talk about that change at all yet. Let's talk about the lobby changes. I have a team that I play with. I don't really play the game unless I got my team. I will play late night. I'll play late night if they're not on sometimes. If I'm trying to push number 1 or something like that. I'll go over to EU, play a few games, try and get lobbies going. Anyways, this... for alpha, great for lobbies, great for top players, great for teams, terrible for the solo player that's trying to learn the game. Without communication, you have nothing. Your team... Spellzy's playing with a guy earlier, and he's like trying to tell him, like, hey man, I have Blink. Here's Blink for you. I have one in my inventory. I'm trying to shoot... He's trying to shoot wind at him. And the guy's just like... I'm gonna go over here and loot this chest, you know. And it's like, fuck, man. It's very frustrating.
Also, I have a beautiful meme on the page that was provided by Merciless Frog. It is quite glorious.
You know, for all the shit I give that guy, that's genius. I love it. I'm a big fan. We're friends now.
Right? I fucking love it. I think he said he's gonna start making like daily memes, and it's that was a glorious one. Quite a few.
But overall, I appreciate them being open, communicative. That's how you say that word, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I appreciate them being open, communicative, and receptive to our anger.
Yeah. Like, I was talking to people before this who sent me that Reddit post, and I was like, ah, yes, they've heard the feedback, which probably 90% of it was like fueled by pure rage. So props to the proletariat person that went through all of that feedback, because I guarantee you yesterday it was especially
pretty brutal, I imagine.
Yeah.
I meant yesterday, I'm not gonna say like I was all that positive. Like, I was pretty tilted while playing. Like, I also was trying to go for number one, and you know, some of those games were frustrating that we had the bug where I got number one, but I didn't actually get it because, you know, DJ Grumps in the chat, please. Where, you know, but I assume the other guys got that too, where they had the same lobby issue where they didn't win a game because this lobby is broken now. There's just some dude hacking or whatever it is. That just sucks. That's just shitty feeling. To go through that many fights, like how Spork outplayed the shit out of us at a 3 and then another person, like, and then to not win that game, that sucks, man.
Yeah,
you're just high. You're like, dude, I fucking crushed that game. Like, I should be on a goddamn t-shirt. Somebody get my name. Somebody get my name to TSM. You know, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh.
You could be like, Mom, I made it. I'm on a t-shirt and people are...
Mom, get the camera!
Exactly.
And then you're just like, oh, well. All right.
Yeah, never mind. Mom, hide the camera. Far
That's my
away.
roundup. Quick assessment. Patch is good, going in the right direction to a balanced extent with Lightning, and I think Toxic a little less so, but we'll shake that out over the next week, and we've got some time to do another show or two in between the next patch. So we've only had one day.
Yeah, we've only had one day. We'll come back next week, same time at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, to discuss more, probably about what's going on with this, what's going on with the community, because I'm sure we'll get a lot more Reddit posts about people's overall thoughts on everything, and I'm hoping there's some good posts that we can go over. We'll get some good clips together, some highlights from the new patch and so forth, and we'll go over them. Yeah,
absolutely. Make sure you tune in next week to not only this show, but also Metashift with Spellzy. He's a genius. He is probably the coolest player ever to play the game. He's got if you think Eruption's a good amulet, you should see the amulet he wears for his dong. It destroys everything. Okay? In a 60-mile radius.
I'm never getting monetized
Marcus,
on YouTube.
Completely agree.
Oh, Sunday's not
nice. That's a you know, I didn't say anything about his genitals. I said his dong. That's different.
Yeah,
you guys
true.
are weird. I meant gong.
His massive gong.
And all right. You want to get some games in?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll close it off with I'm Noriokai. You can find me obviously here at twitch.tv/Noriokai. Twitter and Instagram are all the same, as well as YouTube. Everything is just Noriokai, as spelled is below my name, or below my face here. And yeah, DJ.
And I'm DJ Montague, twitch.tv/DJ Montague, just like that. Also, Twitter, DJ Montague. I mostly don't post about video games because my Twitter's mostly for DJ stuff right now. But maybe I'll integrate some stuff. I should really get that integrated. But my Facebook, Montague. I gotta change that. Don't go there.
We'll cut that out. Don't worry.
Yeah, my social media game is weak. But appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much for all the discussion topics and stuff. And we will love you guys coming in here and talking to us. It really spices up our lives. And Marcus stands up and applauds aggressively to the quick fix was good. Good look for devs. Really makes you appreciate them paying attention. Agreed. Make sure you go to the beginning of the stream where I get mad. I'm just kidding. I didn't get that mad. But anyways, thank you guys.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will leave you with sorry, hold on. I'll get it in a second. This needs to open up. I will leave you with Marcus's exact thoughts on all of this. If I can actually get a thing to move properly. There we go. That is Marcus right. And all of us! All of us right now. To you, proletariat. All of us to you right now. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one, guys. Take care.